Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Corn Productions with my co-host Stacie. We're going to be rewatching From. What's the name of the episode?
This is episode 4, A Rock and a Farway.
Yes, unlike the previous episode, I don't remember this episode at all.
Well, I know it's the episode where we meet the faraway trees.
Okay, that's one good thing that we know about. A couple of shout-outs, one for Latrice. She had a lot to say about the Frank situation. She basically agreed with us that that whole thing was kind of weird. Specifically asking why weren't the windows boarded before people moved in. Mm-hmm. And she also asked the question of if somehow the wife had survived, would she also have gone into the box?
Right.
And I think that's a very fair question. Ashley Wright also commented he likes to watch these videos while doing his work.
Listen.
Yes, he basically listens to us like we're a podcast.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing.
Right? All right, so how this works is we watch the episode, and you can rewatch along with us, and we're going to comment as the episode goes along, whatever thing that comes to mind. It's no notes, no preparation of any kind.
And go ahead and add all of your comments right to the comment section of the video as you're watching, or however you choose to do that. We do have 4 dogs with us again today, so I don't know if any of them are in camera right now, but you'll probably see them jumping all over us. And if they start barking, sorry, we're not going to pause, we're going to keep going.
There's also an Adam involved, so we might hear him at some point.
Around the house somewhere.
All right, so Stacie, at what point does this video...
Okay, so we have our MGM Plus account loaded. We already watched the previously on segment, and we currently are paused at the 1 minute 40 second mark, and on the screen is MGM Present. So you're going to want to set yours up to that spot. Go ahead and pause us until you get there, and then we're going to do a 3-second countdown to start the video so we can all be at the same spot together.
All right, so am I starting the countdown?
Sure.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. And it started, and we're starting.
And I didn't mute. There we go. Muted.
Hopefully
that couple seconds of the song doesn't... wait a minute. Shouldn't we have been past the song? Or no, there was no cold open.
That's weird.
That's the difference, right? Usually there's like something between the previously on and the song. Huh. Okay, so the song's playing right now.
Okay,
that's where we're at. Because we always, pause right when it says MGM Presents. And then, usually there's a segment and then the song comes on.
Weird.
Yeah, they didn't have that for this episode. I wonder why.
That's pretty odd.
So last we saw, Frank got eaten very much.
Yes.
By the monsters.
All of them was eaten.
Our Frank in the box is and I think where we're going to start this once this very long song is over.
The monsters got a Frank snack.
Is I know, or at least somewhere early in this episode, we're going to see Boyd cleaning up Frank's body.
And he's going to go right by Ethan in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, so this is the episode. They just moved into their house, and we're going to be on that next morning, and they're trying to settle in. And of course, we know Tabitha is not ready to settle in. And we've got Julie up at Colony House.
Yes, so that's this episode. So this is the episode where she's kind of trying to adjust to living in Colony House.
Yeah, and this is the episode where that whole laundry scene happens that I mentioned last week like it had already happened.
Right, okay. So, maybe I do have some vague memories of this episode then.
You know the content, you just forget what's in what episode.
Right, basically. And we are arriving, I believe, to the end of the credits. Oh, and by the way, this is the last episode this season directed by Jack Bender.
Okay.
He directed the first 4 and then didn't direct again until season 2.
Okay, so we're starting with a flashback, which I kind of didn't remember this happened this early. Our first shot here of Eli Arsenault playing young Victor.
With his new fancy lunchbox that hasn't been aged by 40 years.
Yeah. And we're getting that first shot of all of those victims from the 1978 massacre. Of course, as a viewer at this point, you have no idea what we're looking at.
Just see a bunch of dead, happy-eating people.
And
they are very wasteful, the monsters. We think of all the humans, not just like...
the organs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's speculation. Are they even eating them, or are they harvesting their organs for something? So Victor's drawing Julie. Now this right here, the picture he's drawing, that's the picture that's going to end up in the lunchbox at the end of season 2. This is the one that he gives to Tabitha.
I don't know if I've made this point before, but it seems like when they introduce new characters, they are almost trying to give a bad first impression of them. Like Victor, for instance, was introduced being a creep. And as we go along, we really begin to like Victor and see him as one of the most tragic, characters in the entire show. But when we start off, it's a very bad first impression. We have a very bad first impression of Jade. And that kind of changes as we go along. I didn't even really like him in the first season. I only started liking him in the second season. And then, Randall, we have a bad first impression for him, and he kind of stays... we don't.
Yeah, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping next season, in season 3, theoretically anyway. Oh, and we're getting introduced to Trudy here.
Trudy,
we've seen her before.
We've seen her, but she's having a conversation with Julie here about her pillow. Julie thinks Trudy's kind of weird naming her pillow, and I love her. I wish we got to see more of Trudy.
Yeah. They killed her too soon, but they had to kill somebody, and basically the background people with the lines. But yeah, Trudy's kind of a fun, interesting character. She almost embodies Colony House. Kind of like the philosophy of Colony House.
Like, she's the one who might have... she might have adopted the one who started all that.
Probably.
The we share everything attitude. Here's Sheriff Boyd out to clean up the mess.
And rebuild his box. And, of course, get Frank, who's not looking very good right now.
So, I guess this is officially Bob Mann's last appearance.
I mean, for now. Yeah, I don't think we had any flashbacks with him or anything like that.
No, we haven't had that yet. I know we were saying last week that's something we'd like to see if we do get flashbacks, is, have some of these characters still alive, right? As we see flashbacks to earlier in this town.
I saw that you had, and we're seeing Mrs. Wu here who's crying over tea, probably. She commented on something of yours that I saw there was some kind of conversation.
Oh, yeah, Elizabeth Moy. She had posted a while ago under, I think it was under our link to Zazzle.
Oh, okay.
She had put up a picture of some yummy stuff she was baking. And I had asked her what she was making, and she just got back to us. It was banana zucchini bread.
That sounds really interesting.
Or something like that, yeah.
Mrs. Moy, I would be more than happy to try out your new concoction. And we see Jim comforting his wife. I forgot. I'm not quite sure I understand why she's upset at this moment.
Well, they just moved into this house, and she's about to give this great line, like, I'm drinking tea out of a dead woman's mug. She still hasn't, it hasn't hit her exactly what's happening. She's having a rough time with this whole idea. Like, they're supposed to be on a camping trip right now.
Right. I mean, theoretically, if you get, like, antiques and stuff like that, you're drinking out of a dead person's, whatever.
I mean, as a dealer of stuff, yeah.
And a lot, you deal with some pictures and stuff like that, too, right?
I do. I sell photos and ephemera and lots of dead people.
Before they were dead, to be,
usually
not pictures of zombies, but
I mean, if you get the pictures of them after they're dead, those are worth a lot more.
Oh, really?
Post-mortem photography.
How often do you find pictures like that?
I don't find them very, very often.
Okay.
But they do have a premium if you have them.
Good to know if I ever stumble upon
antique pictures, not...
Okay. So I can't just kill somebody and then...
Oh, God.
Anyway. I won't do that. I will never do that. Don't worry.
You're going to scare away our listeners. They don't know your sense of humor.
Right.
So Ethan misses Julie.
Mm-hmm. And I believe they're talking about having breakfast with Boyd.
Yeah, they're going to go check out the diner for the first time.
Okay.
They haven't been there yet.
Mm-hmm.
They have dinner with Boyd later. I don't know if that's this episode or the next episode, but this is just Jim and Ethan going to check out the diner. And Tabitha doesn't want to go.
I think that scene we were just talking about happens probably later because that's his inspiration for going into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
The Boyd scene with them at the diner. I think that happens a little bit later because that's his inspiration to go into the woods with what's her name, Sarah. And we're gonna have a Father Kotry and Boyd scene here. Well, actually, I'm not sure that happens yet. But it's gonna happen around this area.
Yeah, no, this is when Ethan gets to pass by Frank's body, and Boyd's trying really hard to keep the kid from seeing this. And this is where we're gonna see. Right here is a scene that's been a topic of a lot of rewatches, where there's some weird continuity with the editing, where you're gonna see somebody passing in front or behind Boyd in front of the diner. And if you watch the cuts, like you see him walking twice. I don't know if I don't recall who.
Is that the guy though? That just passed by?
I'm not sure. But I know there's some discontinuity about who's walking where during this scene. And then I don't know if it's the same episode. I think it is, where we have people entering the diner while we're looking at the diner. Oh, maybe it's this guy leaving the diner. Let's watch him. And these people sitting on the stairs.
The monkey's the last train to Clarksville.
And then they're here already, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know there was something we were supposed to be looking at there.
Well, it was kind of interesting watching, Boyd try to be all casual with Ethan while wearing a shirt drenched in blood, basically.
Like, and Ethan's a smart kid. I feel like he should have picked up on the fact that wasn't just supplies. Mm-hmm. And this is where Ethan and Sarah first spark a friendship.
Which is a very short-lived one, unfortunately.
Yeah, but, he this is where it comes into play that he's, so saddened by what she ends up doing to him because, like, he thought they were friends,
Right.
Like, she was so nice to him.
If I were Ethan, I would be enamored with Sarah for sure.
And so this is them first meeting Mrs. Liu also.
Is this the scene that Victor ends up in?
No. Because he hasn't met Ethan yet. Or he has.
Well, yeah, he met him in the last episode. Yeah.
You know what? Let's just watch it.
Right.
You're confusing me because you're just jumping all over the place. I know. He's jumping all over the place.
All right, so this is the first Kotry scene that actually leads into the second one. But Boyd is going to basically give him a little bit of a back check.
Now, he disagreed with you. He said that the monsters don't leave a lot. You seem to think they were leaving too much.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of leg left and... So, yeah, the back check is basically, hey, are you going to mention in your service that you're the one that wanted Frank dead?
Right. So... Boyd is kind of blaming Kotry for Frank's death here because he didn't talk him out of doing it. But honestly, it was Frank who made the decision to do it.
Ultimately, yes. And I think...
So Kenny says he was looking for Jade for breakfast because remember, Jade's staying in their house. But Jade has already left and he's at the root cellar. Because remember, he saw that vision here yesterday. Mm-hmm. So now he's come back here and he's kind of contemplating what's going on. Now that he doesn't think this is an escape room anymore, his brain is already on like, okay, what is this? Remember, he's a super intelligent person. Mm-hmm. And now he's trying to explain to Kenny what he saw. And of course, it just makes him sound like a crazy person.
It's interesting. I don't even remember him interacting with Kenny too much in the second season. So, and he interacts with him a lot in the first season.
Yeah. Well, they're living together too. So.
Right.
I know in the second season, Jade's more doing his own thing.
So yeah, Jade is using the defense that he's used plenty.
Just jumbled the cable.
Yes.
Sorry if you're getting motion sickness from our video. Jeffrey. Oh, he wants to jump up on you. Don't knock the tray over, please. Come on up, Jeff. Come on, you can do it. Don't take the camera with you.
Good job. That was impressive.
Okay, so this is where Kenny's like, okay, now I want to show you something. And this is where we're going to get introduced to the map. Well, when we get back to them. Because now Mrs. Lou's bringing out the pancakes. Our first pancakes of the series.
And over here we have the sound of a dog dying, as usual.
Jeff. You good? He's okay. Oh my gosh.
Those pancakes look really good.
Maybe Elizabeth Moy can make us some pancakes.
There we go.
We'll just go show up in Nova Scotia and be like, hey, can you guys, just take care of us?
While we're at it, we could also visit Carla, and she can make us some stuff, because she bakes a lot.
Well, she's not in Nova Scotia. She's
That's true, but...
Where is she, Vancouver?
Yeah.
Although that's probably where Elizabeth Moy is. I think she lives in Vancouver as well. Mm-hmm. And since they're not filming yet, that's where she probably is. And Ethan's giving us some insight on, his emotions dealing with his dead baby brother. Mm-hmm. And he thinks, he likes to tell himself that Thomas is just out on a quest. And this theme of a quest sticks with us through this series. And I got a feeling every word that comes out of this kid's mouth is going to be very important to the reality of what's happening to them.
I'm sure that's true, but at the same time, the whole I'm on a quest thing is Ethan's way of emotionally dealing with the situation.
Right.
Which starts to crumble towards the back half of season 2.
But I think he'll realize he was right. Mm-hmm. We are on a quest. Mm-hmm. There are objectives we have to complete in order to escape this hell that we're in.
So Jim, after this conversation, is getting really emotional. So he goes to the bathroom and starts crying to collect himself. And this is really... Actually, is he home? No, he was still at the diner. That's a really nice bathroom for the diner.
They jump a lot. As we go back and forth between these characters. Edit. Yeah, there's this lot of quick edits of Tabitha. We're kind of getting the impression that she's just kind of pacing around a lot.
Interesting stylistic choice there.
And
basically, it kind of plays like a jump cut, but...
And she finds Julie's sweater in her suitcase. Mm-hmm. And a nice excuse for her to go visit Julie already.
Okay, so this is where we end up seeing Victor.
This is the Victor scene, yeah.
Yeah, Victor comes into the diner, talks to Ethan, sits down with him.
He's telling him, this is where he gives him the results of the tree moving. Mm-hmm. And we know that the reason Victor's trying to get friendly with Ethan is because he wants to know more about the boy in white. Mm-hmm. Now, what would Victor have done if he walked in and, Jim was sitting with Ethan? This all would have played out really differently, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It might have changed the entire relationship between Jim and Victor.
Yeah.
If he had been sitting here, already.
Now, I don't blame Jim for having a problem with Victor here. You see a strange man sitting with your son.
Right. Also, you're the one, though, who left your son just sitting here by himself.
Right. But at the same time, okay, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And you're going to react badly to that
so
situation.
This is Jim's, real first impression of Victor. I think he saw him when they were at Colony House, but I don't think they interacted with each other.
And this goes to the creators, once again, creating a bad impression. I think they do that very much on purpose. Mm-hmm. And then kind of they basically make you see the character from a different perspective as we go along. Which is, getting back to what I was saying earlier, I kind of think that's what they are eventually going to do with Randall in Season 3. Make us see him differently. They never really did that in Season 2.
Right.
But that's my hope for Season 3. And yeah, Ethan's not very happy because basically Jim manhandled Victor and threw him out of the diner, which is understandable from his perspective. Mm-hmm. And I get why Jim would not like Victor here, but when we get to Season 2...
He's still there.
Right, and it's after he saved his wife and his daughter.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a lot in the podcast. Mm-hmm. everybody from here through where we end up, by the end of season 2, they've all grown. They've all grown these relationships with each other where characters become really close with each other, like Victor and Ethan. Jade and Tabitha get really close. Jade and Mrs. Liu. Everybody forms these bonds. And Jim doesn't.
No, he very much doesn't.
So he's still stuck where he is today at the end of season 2.
Right.
As far as like who he trusts, who he, is friends with. He doesn't make these connections. He'll have some kind of relationship with Donna. He'll have some kind of relationship with Randall, but
it's more
not a friendly one.
It's a functional relationship.
Yeah.
It's like what they could do for
He
each
doesn't
other.
really get to know these people and come to depend on these relationships that everyone else in his family does. By the end of season 2, his wife and his kids are a part of this community, and he's just not.
And we got the laundry scene. This is in reaction to Julie getting her stuff basically stolen from Trudy.
Yeah, and I think we missed that scene altogether.
Yeah. We were talking about other things.
That, Trudy has Julie's shirt. And at this point, nobody's come right out and explained to us that, like, oh, we just share everything here. They kind of make it sound like a Trudy problem.
Right. And in season 2, that's elaborated on more.
Yeah. So this is where, and I missed it now trying to read the captions, but this was the trivia question I got wrong when I did from trivia with in a Facebook group. I won the trivia challenge, but I did get the question wrong. What was that guy's name who owned this shirt? And I didn't catch it again.
Oh, right. So Tabitha's come to talk to Julie. This conversation is not going to go well.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off, you think it's going to go somewhere because Julie is kind of maybe regretting this decision, and she wants to be with her family. But she wants them to beg her to be with them. She doesn't want them to be like, you made a mistake.
Not to mention the anger towards her parents still overwhelms everything. Even the fact that she's regretting her Colony House decision. My armrest is moving.
Where are you going now? She don't know where she's going. Why don't you just stay here? Why don't you stay? No? Alright, don't knock the tray over. If the video goes kaboom up into the ceiling, you know what happened.
Right? No editing. Not allowed.
So, yeah, she almost won Julie over, but, nope, it turned the other direction. And this is the conversation I was referring to that I was like, yeah, we heard that already. No, it happened here.
Right.
Where we're learning that Julie knows her parents were about to get a divorce. And they didn't know that she knew, but of course she knows. Like, your kids are smart. They know.
Right. Well, teenagers are more likely to notice these things than, Ethan would, but...
And, this all goes back to the whole family hasn't really processed Thomas dying. And I don't know if we ever got an exact timeline of how long ago that was, but I get the impression it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, probably not. So, Fatima is like an endlessly... I thought she was going to end up comforting Tabitha there, but she really doesn't.
She was like, I'll make sure she gets the sweater.
Because you get the feeling that she feels for Tabitha, as well as her friend Julie.
Right. So. And throughout this season, she'll be the one that's like, always has a positive perspective, always wanting to be helpful. So here we are with the map. Kenny showing Jade the map of, we have tried to figure this out. I'm going to note we can see the clock here in the station stuck at 4 o'clock. I keep track of those clocks, but I haven't quite figured out what they're trying to tell us, if anything. But that one there always stays on 4. I think. So yeah, each pin on the map represents where somebody was when they found the tree on the ground. And it clearly hasn't gotten them any answers.
And Jade is convinced that there's someone behind the curtain doing this to all of them. I think he gets the feeling that it's a physical, like an actual person, as opposed to this, like, supernatural.
Kenny's just trying to explain it all to Jade, but yeah, they're not going to see it the same way. He's like, yeah, the radio does that sometimes, but I'm trying to tell you something.
Yeah, and Jade's, of course, not going to listen to him, and he's going to take the radio.
Yeah, he's like, that's something. And it is something.
That's, like, significant for, like, that radio keeps coming back. Makes guest star appearances in this series as a plot device.
Alright, so he's got Victor's drawing of the boy in white. And Tabitha and Jim are realizing they are kind of sucking as parents. Both their kids are angry with them.
Well, in the case of a teenager, usually if the teenager is mad at you, you're doing something right. Not in this case. Like, the actual expression that I got from Cobra Kai, the mother in that series, Carmen, which I know is a series you didn't watch, was something along the lines, if the teenager is always happy with you, you're doing something wrong. But they both deserve their kids being angry with them.
Yeah.
In my mind. Like, Jim overreacted. Though, as I said, it is understandable that he reacted that way at the same time.
He took it, like, a lot of steps further than he needed to.
Yeah, definitely.
He could have taken a much calmer approach, especially since Ethan was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you are going to be stuck in the town with these people, maybe completely isolating yourselves from everybody is not the best idea.
No. Unfortunately, I think Jim isn't about forming connections because he really thinks that he can find a way out.
Yeah, they think they're going to be here for a day or two and they're going to figure it out.
Because Jim thinks he's smarter than everybody. And he's probably right because he's an engineer. But at the same time, maybe not.
And Victor made a probably really poor decision to just kind of lure Ethan out of the house.
Yeah.
There's, in the background there, you can see Fatima's bug. Which we haven't learned is hers yet.
If your goal is to make it so it seems like you're not a threat, luring a little boy out of the house is not the way to go.
But, we got to remember...
Victor's
a child.
Right.
Like, they see him as this, 50-year-old man. Mm. He doesn't see himself that way.
Right.
He has not developed beyond Ethan's age.
Basically.
He raised himself.
We've said a couple of times that he could be on the spectrum, but also he was alone for 30 years.
Right, he's developmentally stunted.
Right.
All right, so here's the quest stick that so many viewers are annoyed that Ethan's still carrying after 2 seasons.
Despite it being impaled through the leg and it not really being that long of a time frame.
Right, it's been like 2 weeks.
Right. This is the second Katri and Boyd conversation. Katri's coming back to be like, hey, did that make you feel good saying that? And he basically gives Boyd a lot of crap, saying, hey, look, you're the leader. Sometimes that means doing shitty things. And he makes this claim about Boyd's guilt somehow being connected to what happened to his wife. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time that comes up. And then in the second season, Donna makes that same claim as to Boyd's motivations. In neither case do I actually buy that. I think his guilt here is pretty face value. He didn't want Frank to die. He didn't want that to happen.
Right.
And,
but, is he the one that made that rule in the first place?
Right.
He's the one who built the box in the first place. So he is the catalyst for all of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I don't buy that it has anything to do with his wife.
So yeah, he's telling us all of these things that Boyd has done that we'll learn more about as the season goes on, about you're the one who found the talisman, you're the one who, saved our community and gave us a life worth living. And he's not so sure that he has.
Right. And Katri thinks that things are starting to fray, that there's been multiple deaths in the last 6 days, whereas the previous 3 months there was none, and people are starting to get a little bit more scared. And he wants Boyd to actually be a leader. He can't live in his grief about his wife. And
this is where the confusion came from. I know a lot of people were confused about the timeline of this show. He didn't find the talisman 3 months ago. And I know this is where that came from for some people, thinking that Abby died 3 months ago. That was 2 years ago.
Right.
We don't know what happened 3 months ago. There was an incident 3 months ago. And we might not ever know what that one was that happened 96 days prior to the first episode. But yeah, they've had the talisman ever since...
Oh, that's interesting.
About 2 years ago now.
You saw Boyd, his hand shaking. Okay, so that's the beginning of the whole Parkinson's thing.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting that basically Boyd is going to live with this guilt over how the Frank thing played out for the duration of the series so far. I'm sure that's still going to be on, because it's subtle, but there's moments where it's very clear that he very much regrets the whole Frank going into the box thing.
Alright, so Victor's brought Ethan out in the woods. Again, really bad decision. But from his perspective, they're just like two kids hanging out, two kids sneaking off to play together.
Right.
He doesn't have the mindset to be like, oh, I'm a grown man who just, kidnapped a child. And Ethan's telling him all about Thomas. Victor doesn't want to hear about it. He doesn't want to get close. He has his reasons that and we'll hear about this in season 2, I don't want to be your friend because then it's going to hurt when you die. Because everybody dies.
But then again, what's he doing this for then? If he doesn't want to be friends with this kid, why is he...
He realizes that Ethan sees the boy in white and it's bringing up all these memories for him. So he thinks he needs Ethan in order to, reconnect with the boy in white. He hasn't seen him since he was a kid. Yeah, now what's Tabitha's problem?
I don't know. She just had that conversation with Julie that didn't go very well, so she's upset about that.
And now she's sort of fighting with her husband. She's having a tough day. And this is where they're going to realize they were so busy arguing with each other that they didn't even notice Ethan is gone.
Well, I'm shocked. They've been great parents up to this point. At least Julie wasn't supposed to be babysitting this
right?
time.
This one's not on her. Usually it is. And they find his crutch that Ellis made that didn't last very long. A Farway tree.
Ooh.
Which we as a Family audience have adopted it. We call them far away trees, but in this episode clearly it's a far away tree. There's no A in it.
Lily.
She's like, how am I supposed to get back on the couch? Why don't you come sit over here though? No? Says I go back in my spot in the corner. Alright, so we got that smiley face drawn on the rock. This is another thing that a lot of people I've seen people criticize, in the Facebook groups, of how when it comes back, which is going to be any second now, it's different. The rock, you can tell the smiley face is different. Well, that's because production didn't literally drop it in a tree and then stop and dig it out and then go drop it from above. They had many rocks they were using to make this scene. And, I'm sure they filmed this scene many times, and he would have drawn that smiley face many times.
Right.
And then whatever they got when they edited it all together is what they used.
I'm wondering how clearly we can hear the dog snoring.
Yeah, Jeffrey's snoring pretty loud. Probably with this mic, we're getting a very good echo of the... Careful, though. Hi.
So yeah, he mentions the fact that when you go in one, you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah. So yes, it works for people, but Victor thinks it's a bad idea. Of course, from this point forward, we'll only use them for people.
Right. Well, there's only one time that I can recall it being used on purpose, like with time to think about it, and that was Tabitha at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Other than that, every time is like to either like escape something.
It's like an emergency, right? Like it's our only option. Let's go through a tree. Hi, Lily. So, Lily, you're being rude, Lily. We're on video.
So, I guess it is the same dog.
So it's Gus.
Yeah. See, I thought like when we saw him at season 2 that he looked completely different, but nope.
Oh, Lily. So Victor was upset when he heard the dog, and we got a flashback. It reminded him of that first time he saw the dogs, the morning after the massacre.
Anytime that dog encounters Boyd, it's being helpful.
Right.
So, what was the deal here?
I think it's just bringing up Victor's memories of, yeah, all this happened. All these people died. He's locked it away for so long. But this is where we learn he's carrying this gun in his lunchbox, which, of course, is not helping his case with the Matthews parents.
Right. He's done just about everything wrong so far. Tabitha is telling Ethan never to leave the house.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's just the people across the street building a house. Yeah, they are.
So, Victor saw the dog when everybody was dead.
And the boy in white. I think that's the first time he met him, was that morning. And he's looking frantically through his drawings. And he's trying to realize... So, we'll come to learn this as we go. He makes pictures of things that he wants to remember. So if it's in one of his drawings, he knows it really happened versus he just dreamed it. Because he convinced himself that, this was a dream. It didn't really happen. All these people weren't dead. We got the shot in this flashback scene. The hotel sign still had a name on it. It was the Star Magic Motel. And in the current scenes, that's gone. And that's the house that the Matthews are staying in, where the Pratts lived. And there's that, what is that called?
Carousel, maybe? It's like one of those...
Spinny ride.
Spinny things.
And this is the shot that we get in the opening, right there. With it spinning and we can see the body underneath. That's the shot from the opening of this year, like that from the theme song. It's okay. I think they're dumping a dumpster across the street. So the dogs are going crazy. Sorry. Warned you it was going to happen today.
Yes.
And yeah, I think Victor's just really dealing with the fact that he's having this kind of memory overload. So he's putting all these pictures up that he's had kind of packed away. He probably hasn't looked at them in a long time. And there is lots of...
That's a
bloody body parts.
Gruesome picture.
And he's like, oh my goodness. That's a lot of grief he's being faced with. Alright, and this is where Boyd's going to invite them to have dinner with him.
Okay. So that was this episode.
Oh, yeah. So he says, Victor, and Boyd's like, well, he's not mine. He's one of Donna's people. We're completely separate and we don't involve each other.
Which is funny because that's completely different once we get to season 2.
Oh, yeah. Once we hit episode 7, everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, he takes care of his people and Donna takes care of her people and that's that. But he's like, oh, he's got a gun? Yeah, I better talk to Donna about that. And this shows right here, Jim is respecting Boyd as the leader of this community and not just going to Donna himself and bitching.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so this is the moment where Boyd is going to invite the Matthews to dinner.
Yeah, he's like, we haven't really had time to get to know each other.
Right.
Things have been a little crazy the last couple days. And Fatima is trying to make Julie feel better. They have made her a place to sleep of her very own inside their bedroom.
So she's not going to sleep on the couch anymore.
Right.
But she's going to have a threesome with Fatima and...
I'm surprised they haven't gone there.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
And she's so ecstatic that there's a spot for her to sleep.
Yeah, with a mural behind it of the town and monster hands.
Yeah, that's one of
Jack Bender's
pieces of art. That's in his latest book. And of course, in the context of the show, presumably it's something Ellis drew. His paintings are all over the room. Although I know that's debatable among the community as well. People are like, who made this painting? To me, it's pretty clear Ellis made it. They're taking an awful long time figuring out that dumpster across the street.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm really good at just ignoring dog sounds, but I'm realizing, like, they must be very obtrusive in the video. Alright, here's Boyd in that mirror. He spends a lot of time in this mirror. We get a lot of emotional scenes with himself.
Staring in a mirror.
That take place in this mirror.
He's trying to look his best for dinner with the Matthews.
Yeah.
I guess this did happen this episode. See, I thought this happened later. Wow. Okay.
Well, only 10 episodes. Things move right along. We don't have a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And he's screaming into the mirror. I'm wondering if that's the shot they used for the season 2 poster of when he's screaming.
I think so, probably.
I feel like that was the one when he was just screaming into that mirror.
Dinner with the Matthews. That sounds like it would make a great comedy show. Or movie, rather. It's kind of awkward. What kind of mug is Boyd drinking out of? Looks like Hot Wheels or something.
Oh, I think it's flowers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's behind our closed captioning we're watching with.
It's pretty, though.
But yeah, I mean, this is something at the diner. It's all mismatched, dishes that I'm assuming they've gotten from the houses. Did this diner not come equipped with matching dishes? It seems like everything else is here that should be here. But yeah, all of their dishware is mismatch. And there's that relationship between Sarah and Ethan. He's going to help her serve dinner.
Johnny Mitchell's Blue. What does that mean to you?
Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell. Okay.
I'm actually not all that familiar with that song, to be honest.
So the scene happens here, but maybe not the epiphany scene where Boyd hears music and realizes that's the solution to the problem.
Yeah, no, that's later. We spent a lot of time in the diner.
Right.
Although I think this is where we're going to find out what's going on with Sarah.
Oh,
I think this episode ends there. Shouldn't they have invited Julie to come to dinner with them? Or is that not allowed?
Yeah, I'm not really clear on that, but couldn't they have? Maybe they tried and it didn't go well. Maybe she doesn't want to try right now because she got rejected so hard last time. But Jim and Tabitha are going to figure things out. until Jim dies and Jade and Tabitha get together. Though Jade would have to graduate to the next level of the simulation, assuming that's what's going on. Or Tabitha would have to go backwards.
I don't know. And yeah, here she's gonna get her little stigmata on her arm.
Which many people think is the worms.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It doesn't really look all that similar. I mean, it sort of does, but...
I think it's just the forming of the words. I don't think it was worms.
Kill the boy.
Kill the boy. And she instantly realizes they mean Ethan. Is that what they even meant? There's speculation on that as well. Just as quick as it appeared, it's gone. But then she goes into seizure mode, doesn't she?
If that's not what they meant,
Yeah.
it could have been a little bit more clear.
I mean, what else would anybody assume, right?
Right.
And she's the second person now to have a seizure
Mm-hmm.
after Ethan.
Which, goes into our Under the Dome podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like the similarities between the two series. Seizures here, seizures there.
And what's going on with Donna?
I think, Victor is digging the
this
holes.
Is sooner than I thought. Yeah, so Victor's digging graves and freaking everyone at Colony House out, and he says, just trying to get a head start this time. And he has come to this epiphany that what happened to him as a child is re-happening.
Mm-hmm.
That there's some sort of a cycle that he's acknowledging, starting with the arrival of 2 cars on the same day.
So we see 6 graves. Does that mean 6 people are going to die?
That's where that episode ends. Well, a lot more than 6 end up dying.
Yeah.
14 they lose when
So-
they have their massacre.
I mean, Victor's not done yet. He's still digging holes, so he has time.
They kind of stop him.
And there's a couple more episodes before.
Yeah. So does that mean that in his timeline there was a mini massacre where a bunch of people died before the whole town died? Are we
Possibly.
following this pattern of what happened when he was a kid
that's a speculation.
throughout the series?
Right. That's speculation, is that everything that we are seeing is repeated events.
Right.
Probably over and over and over again.
Right.
Going back, I don't know. I mean,
Starting with the arrival of the
Yeah.
2 cars, but I don't think the Colony House massacre is what is to compare to his everybody died massacre.
Right.
I feel like we're building up to an everybody's supposed to die type of event.
Mm-hmm.
With Jade in Christopher's spot.
Right.
And
Ethan and Victor's.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And Tabitha and Miranda.
Yeah. So that would seem to indicate to me that Tabitha isn't going to go backwards. Because I kind of feel like...
Well, Miranda didn't make it. So has Tabitha...
Do we know that for sure, though?
We know there was a body.
That could just be the empty vessel.
Either Tabitha's body's going to show up
Mm-hmm.
and tell us, oh, maybe Victor's mom did make it somewhere.
Right.
Or has Tabitha already done more than Miranda did? Has she already broken the cycle and has advanced the game?
I kind of feel like Miranda is going to show up wherever Tabitha is. Whether it be real life or the next level of the simulation.
See, a lot of people think it's Eloise that's going to show
Well,
up.
I also think she's going to be there too.
And is Julie Eloise in this story?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening with Julie?
Right.
She was one of the 3 people chained up.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen in 78?
Right.
Is that where Martin's from?
Yeah, maybe.
There's so much we don't know still.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much speculation.
Mm.
And I feel like there's no shortage of questions
Right.
we could ask.
Mm-hmm.
And any assumption can lead us to a whole new set of questions. And what do we know for sure? Not a lot.
Right. Nope.
Not a lot.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this little rewatch. Do we have any other further comment about this episode?
No, that was episode 4. We get a lot of character development, a lot of weird relationship development between the Matthews family and everybody they're encountering.
So one thing I find interesting is that people complained about the pacing and how like season 1 was so much better as far as
a lot of
more
think
happening. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
season 1 beats are basically the same.
It's that we as a viewer are getting to know all of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Where in season 2, there's only a handful of new characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's happening the same way.
Right.
We're just learning so much more that we didn't know yet watching these episodes, that, there goes Tinkerbell hitting the wire again.
Yes. So it's not like it's action-packed season 1 versus like a much slower paced season 2.
Right.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Basically.
They are. It's just your perspective of it changes the more once you know the characters. And if you watched them backwards, like if you watched season 2 without watching season 1, I bet you wouldn't feel that way. Like, they wouldn't feel that way because they'd be picking up all these context clues and learning things about all these characters.
Right.
But because you already know them, a lot of people are like, oh, this is boring.
All right, so we would like to hear from you. What did you think of this video? What did you think of this episode? Any comments that you have, Stacie can be reached at?
You can reach on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions for the moment. You can join one of my Core Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle, which has a bunch of cool new products, including this shirt, this mug.
Not that mug.
Oh yeah, you can't buy this mug. I got the wrong mug this time. This is the one I got from Seattle. So you can buy those products on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee, which is a new way to support content creators such as ourselves. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to our channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Corn Productions, signing off.